at least according to Larry Williams. But when I checked in with today, he's the market historian that I like so much for Mad Money. What he said, Jeff, is that it's possible that the Ranger left early.
Well, it certainly helps when you get a really good earnings report from Nike, their inventory issues. Finally, they're starting to get a good handle on. And China, what a surprise China was with revenue growing there 6% year over year.
Which is why you had to buy some Estee Lauder today, because even though Estee Lauder's up, the idea that you would think of a luxury good like Nike being up 6 means a luxury good like Estee Lauder perhaps being up even more. I think it's a very timely buy. Now, typically, when we're overbought, we wouldn't do that. But even after, let's just say some evening, we are still oversold. And that, it's not as much oversold as it was, but still at levels that you can do some buying.
Yeah, look, I think the market we don't typically like to chase up opens, right, but we did some buying today because we've had a nasty little pullback over the last week and change. The S&P is still down, call it near 19% year to date. Sentiment is still really negative out there. A lot of people looking for a nasty pullback sometime in the Q1 of 23. So sentiment negative, but to your point, technicals line up. Larry
right.
Williams.
I'm struggling with the negativity, if only just because you saw what could happen at FedEx. When Raj Subramanian, what he did was cut back. When a founder creates a network, and I always thought that Mr. Smith did a great job. Mm-hmm. He just expands, grows. Well, they were losing money on a lot of what they sent. That's over. So when you see them take cost out, what they're doing is they're taking cost out, but they're also probably taking labor out. Labor is expensive, and I think that this is all part and parcel. What I'm saying is that the Fed's job is going to be a little bit easier than people think, because big layoffs coming and a lot of big companies, not little companies, big companies. Now, yesterday we had Rusty Brazil on as our oil guru. And, we've got some oils. We've got Devon, is important to me. Pioneer's important. Guitar's important. Halliburton is doing really well.
Sure.
And he said something interesting. He said, as long as oil's above 70, then you're going to be able to still get this good dividends. Mm-hmm. And so we're okay. Now, against that, what I was surprised was if we have a U.S. recession, he says, we're not going to have these dividends. But more importantly, it's been inaccurately reported that China, when they open, could be 1 to 2 million barrels. It's actually 1 to 2 million gallons. And obviously that means it's not a needle mover. I do know that Russia has enough oil to continue to flood the world. So we may be at equilibrium. I know that the SPR, the president doesn't want to refill it all the way. So it's not.
They've been very slow. The announcement they had the other day was just a fraction of what they've released.
Right. And what they're saying basically is that we no longer need the emergency because we're such a big producer now.
Yeah.
Well, they hate him or like him, that's his view, right? We feel like that it is still not too late to do some buying. So I mentioned we added Estee Lauder. Emerson Electric, we decided to get more. We said we would if it came in.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that one. We highlighted it last week on our monthly call. Really like the portfolio reshuffling they're doing there, becoming a pure play automation company. Yes, the industrials have had a nice run of late, but it still trades at a discount to Rockwell Automation on an enterprise value to EBITDA
much better company
basis.
Much better company.
Dividend aristocrat.
Right. And it's
all
just
the stuff we like.
And what they also are doing so many creative deals. And I think that Carson Black is doing a very good job. Mm-hmm. And we have to stay tracked because he's reinventing Emerson on the fly.
And he's got $8 billion more of dry powder to do more creative deals.
And he's going to do it. Reminds me, by the way, of how we're not recommending DuPont right now, but Ed Breen has a lot of optionality.
Sure.
And I like Ed very much. More of a I like a lot of these cyclicals because they're down and out in anticipation of recession. Now, the one that is down and out, but is thought of as being really hurt, but we decided we waited to be able to buy some is Salesforce.
Yeah.
Salesforce is down. I don't have any conviction that Salesforce is necessarily at a level where we can just say, hey, listen, you got to own it. But what we've done is waited for it to go lower. It's got a lot of bad news in it, not a lot of good news.
Well, look, it's down 20% since they reported last. Sure, losing Brett Taylor, big blow to the company, but they have a deep bench, and not all of the higher up executives leaving was voluntary.
No, and that's been said, not said, no people. And the dollar has crushed them more than almost any company I know. And the dollar, that headwind is not a tailwind, but becoming less of an issue.
Look at the yen the last couple of days. Mark has always cited Japan as an area where they're getting hurt from currency.
He spends months in Japan. This is so important. Now, I want to go back to something you said about management. There's been this sense that it's become a revolving door. Now, Mark has an activist fund, Starboard in it. Now, he likes Jeff Smith very much, but it's not a it's more of a disparate chorus at Starboard. Not everybody is as on board with the kindness thing. So there's they have a velvet fist, some people say, or a glove and a hammer. And I would say that Mark, if he wants to cement his legacy, he's going to have to be able to make this stock go back. And the way he's going to do it is through head count reductions. And the way you do that first is you take the managers who have hired people and you tell them to leave. And then you can make the changes.
All right, guys. Welcome back. We just want to discuss a couple of stocks this morning. If you're in Patreon, you would know that the club just bought Estee Lauder, they bought Devon, and they bought Emerson. So please look at that email if you're in Patreon, so you could make these moves when the club make these moves. I just want to talk about Devon. I think it's still a great purchase. I think Devon is a good stock. It gives about an 8% dividend. It's an oil stock. As you know, guys, I always encourage you to get into oil. I said I still like Coterra and Pioneer Natural Resources, but Devon is still a good stock. And the club just bought that stock, so you could follow that and buy that stock. Let me talk about Estee Lauder, because you know the market is up this morning and China did very well, and that says China stock. So they're buying some more of that stock. It is a skincare product, and I think it is a good buy. I totally agree with that. Still love Starbucks. Still prefer Starbucks. Starbucks is inexpensive, and Starbucks give a dividend. Or Estee Lauder don't give a dividend right now, but Starbucks give a 2% dividend. So if I have to take a buy, I would say that Starbucks, if I could buy one stock based on China reopening and things getting better, I say Starbucks is the stock that I'm going to recommend. As we know this morning, they also buy Emerson Electric. They bought some more of Emerson Electric. I don't totally agree with that trade. I thought maybe that stock should have bought yesterday. The stock is up. I guess it's not up a lot. So if you're a new club member, you could buy it. But if you had it before, I was saying that it's not up by a lot though. But if I had to buy it, I would have bought it yesterday. I have some in my portfolio. It was done, and we see that the stock is coming up. So that's a great thing. Anyway, guys, one more thing before I leave. One way you can support the channel is to join our Patreon. And the Patreon, guys, remember, the full video will be uploaded to Patreon. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to comment and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you on our next video.